The next type of join that we're going to talk about is the inner join, which joins common columns based on equality, and these common columns will appear redundantly in the results if I'm showing all columns. So for example, if I wanted to show all the customer and order information for orders placed by customers, I'd say select star from the customer, and then I have an alias for the table customer of C, and then I'm going to use inner join, so that's going to join customer to another table order, and I'm going to give an alias to the order table of O. And then what I'm going to join on is the customer's customer ID to the order's customer ID. So I say on C, which is shorthand for writing customer, dot customer ID equals O, which is shorthand for writing order, dot customer ID. So if I didn't provide those aliases of C and O, I'd literally have to write customer.customer ID and order.customer ID. So inner is optional, but the standards encourage us to use inner. Additionally, you can use inner join with the keyword using. Now, if you do not want to specify equality of two columns, you can use using to specify the column that's the same name that you're going to join between those two tables. So for example, if I say select star from customer, inner join order, I can just then say using customer ID because both the customer table and the order table have a customer ID. The second query you see here is going to be similar results as a natural join in that the common columns will not appear redundantly. However, it doesn't work the same as a natural join because natural join will join all common columns regardless of whether they're primary key, foreign key pairs. Whereas with inner joins, we can specify the particular columns that we want to join on, and that's why it's advised that you use inner join rather than natural join. Okay, so here I am back at the server. I'm going to go ahead and run this first query, and you'll see that we have results similar to our natural join, where we have the customer listed multiple times because they have placed 6 orders, and you'll also notice that the common columns appear redundantly. So customer ID right here is from the customer table, and customer ID right here is from the order table. Now if I go ahead and run the second query, you'll see that it merged the customer IDs into one column. Notice that there is no longer a customer ID column over here. So now I want you to attempt these 4 queries, so try these on your own, pause this video, and then come back to compare your answers. Okay, so now we are back at the server. I've gone ahead and copied and commented out each one of these questions. So let's answer this first one that asks us to show all employees who have the skill of router. So let's go to our entity relationship diagram, and we see router is going to be inside of the description field in the skill table, and I want to see the employee IDs that have that particular description. So what I'm going to do is say select star from skill, and then I'm going to use inner join this time, employee skill, and then I'll give an alias of S to skill and ES to employee skill. I'll then say on S.skill ID equals ES.skill ID. And then I only want those with the skill router, so I'll then say where description equals router. I'll go ahead and run this, and we can see that there are 2 employees that have the skill of router. Okay, so this next question asks us to show the territory name and related shipping address information in the territory of Colorado or Arizona. So let's go to our ERD, and we're going to be interested in the territory and the shipping address information. So we're going to select the territory name, so we're just going to use name here, and the related shipping address. So I'm going to give my table of shipping address an alias of SA, and then I'll do .star. So this means that it will include every column from the shipping address table. I'll then say from territory, and I'll give this an alias of T, and we're going to use an inner join here, and I'll join that to shipping address, and I'll give it an alias of SA, and then I'll say on T.territory ID equals SA.territory ID. And then I'm only interested in those that are in the territory of Colorado or Arizona. So I'll say where name in Colorado and Arizona. Now I'll run this query, and we see that there are 4 shipping addresses that are in Colorado and Arizona. All right, this next query asks us to show the total number of products produced on each product line. So let's go back to our ERD, and we're looking for product and product line. So what's going to join these 2 together is product line ID. So let's go ahead and select the total number of products. So we're going to count the product IDs produced on each product line. So we're going to use the name of the product line. And I'll say from product line, and I'll give this an alias of PL, and I'll inner join product line to product, give it an alias of P, and then on PL.product line ID equals P.product line ID. And then since I have a non-aggregated column with an aggregated column, I need to use the group by. So I'm going to say group by the non-aggregated column of name. We'll run this query, and we can see the total number of products on each product line. The next query asks us to show the salesperson name, order date, territory ID, and shipping address ID where the shipping address has a value or the territory is number 4. So let's go to our ERD. And we're interested in salesperson name. So we have territory ID here. We want order date, which is going to be between salesperson and order. So I'm going to be joining those two tables together. So we're going to select the salesperson name. So let's go ahead and use the concat function. I'm going to concatenate the first name with a space in the middle with the last name. And let's give this an alias of salesperson name. And then I want the order date, the territory ID, and the shipping address ID. All right, so this comes from the salesperson table, and I'll give this an alias of S. And then I'm going to join using an inner join with the order table. And order is a reserved keyword, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in tick marks. And then I'll give this an alias of O. I'll join on s.salespersonID equals o.salespersonID. Then I want where the shipping address has a value. So I'll say where ship address ID is not null. And then I want where the territory ID is 4. So I'll say and territory ID equals 4. So we'll go ahead and run this query, and we can see that Mary James is the salesperson that works in that territory, and there's a customer with the ship address ID of number 10 that's corresponded with that information.